Okay, so I got a question, um, and there was a several like two-part to this question. So hopefully I can get it all into one small video, and it will work out, and this won't be like a two-parter. Um, you'll have to forgive me. I've got a little bit of asthma. The question was about ethics in the community, and I thought, ooh, you know. There can be a whole lot of he said, she said in that video. What am I going to do? And I thought, you know what? I usually stay out of these kinds of topics, but there's one in particular I did have a brush with once, and that's energy work and ethics in the community. And I thought, that would be a really good video to talk about, and a very gentle way of sort of opening the subject to that part of the community. This is, of course, about the vampire community, or the OVC, as whatever you want to call it. Things happen behind closed doors. People get hurt. People get upset. They get things taken from them. So I'm going to first go about this in the realm of energy work, and then go into it as a topic of the community as a whole, because they are separate. And this is sort of like the intro into the topic. So if you decide that this video was enough for you to get the gist of what I'm trying to say, great. Hopefully I won't have to make another video, but if there is a calling for it, I will talk about it. I'm just hoping that no one guillotines me afterwards. Alright, so one thing I experienced once in talking to someone, I'm not going to name any names. I don't even know what sort of alias to give this person. I don't even want to give them an alias, because I don't even want to think about something that I could possibly call them. And I'm sure that if this video got around to this person, they would know exactly who I was talking about, and it would embarrass them. This is not meant to embarrass anyone. If you think I'm pointing a finger at you, I'm not. I'm trying to remain as vague as possible with getting my point across. Okay, so here we go. My background is a licensed professional. I'm not going to say what kind, but I have 3 different licenses in the state of Washington. I professionally deal with touching people. I have hand-to-hand contact with people, and I had to go through NIC testing in order to allow me to do that. I had to have a written and a physical. I'm trained to be around people. When you do energy work, if you don't have some kind of license that does that, I'm not happy with you. I'm not happy with you. There are things that need to go on when you're touching people. You know, sanitation, changing sheets. What kind of room are you doing this in? Your business as a whole. How much money are you taking from these people? Are you taking money? I mean, if you have an establishment and this is your job, or you're making a career out of this, then there are things that need to be thought about. You need to at least you need to be working under a licensed professional, or you need to be a licensed professional. And when I ran into, we'll just call them this person, they of course they had taken classes for energy work, and they were quite talented. I do not deny that. I'm sure they were very talented. But the way that they were going about this was entirely wrong. And they pretty much said, if you consent and you sign on the dotted line, say I'm going to remove something from your body that is making you unhealthy. Shh. Sorry, I'll just move this off the table. You know, if you consented for them to do that for you and they found anything else, they were going to take it out as well. I mean, once you gave consent, no holds barred, they were in your system. That's like getting hip surgery and then saying, "Oh, well, we found something on your ankle, on your other foot, so we removed that at the same time. Now you can't walk." Obviously, you can tell this really bothers me. It should bother you. I mean, it's a huge violation of your space as a person, not to mention your etheric body, and that messes with your soul connection. Catering to people is one thing. Making sure your sanitation is correct is a good thing. You want to be sure that you're up on that. Um, but if there's something else that needs to be done in a session and you see that it needs to be done, you need to stop. You need to back up and pull out and say, "Hey, I just found something and you may need another session after this. We'll talk about it afterwards. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Please go back into your meditative space." Or save that for the end of a session. You know, if you're doing you know, like Reiki healing, or you're doing you know, massage, and you have an energetic touch, and you know when things are not right, or you know, if you're willing to tell someone about that, that's great. And if you're willing to work on it, even better. But again, you're still a licensed professional after that. You're allowed to say that. You're allowed to work on them. When you are not a licensed professional and you are just out there on the street saying, you know, "Let me heal you," and then the moment people give you consent, you're running rampant all over their body and you're making claims that no testimonials, people gave you money for this? I mean, already, like, karmically, you know, if there's money involved, it shouldn't be a lot of money either, because you're doing this as a good service, you're doing this as a positivity. You know, if you're asking for payment, it should be something for your table, not, you know, like $35 cash. You know, when you're asking for money at that point, not only are you suable and people can come after you, but I mean, there's you know, declaring things, taxes. I mean, this person is dodging a lot of things. And I feel really bad because they have taken classes for energy work. They are very learned. But the things that they were doing with their energy work, I mean, even in the VC saying, you know, "I can cure you." I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, scientifically, you know, they're just, there are laws scientifically against this kind of practice. You know, you can't make an apple something else. I mean, you can cut it into pieces and make apple pie, but it's still an apple. You're not going to make an apple an orange. And especially if you were born that way. I mean, someday science might get into fixing genetic markers, but that's not going to be done in the realm of energy work. I understand making an energetic prosthetic for someone who's having an issue. You know, if your energetic body is a tripod and you need another leg, we'll just use that as a sort of example. I can totally understand that. Is it going to be permanent? No, it's not. Um, so, and don't get me wrong, like, I totally understand where people that are ill are coming from. One of the first things I said to an elder was, "I'm so sick of this. Please somebody fix me." Please somebody fix me. And they were, of course, very upset with what I had to say because they were offended, because this is their life. And yes, I completely understand where they were coming from. And if I could apologize, I would. But it was such a long time ago, and I definitely know better now, that when you're in that crucial stage where you're hating every minute of your life and you want a fix, a lot of people do turn to things like energy work. And you know, if you run on your prosthetic too hard, you're going to need a new one. I myself am a eternal vampiric vacuum, and all energy work that is done around me, I tend to start to, snip at, very delicately, which I feel bad for because people put their energy and their heart and their soul into it, and I can literally pick it up and ruin it if I'm not careful. So, ethics in the community and what they should be and what they're not. People do things without telling people. People enter people's spaces without asking for permission. And things go wrong. And people get hurt. And, if you're going to give someone a prosthetic in the community, this is like a transplanted heart. Why would you transplant something and then not look in on it? Not make sure that it is constantly doing well? Because once you have that heart transplant, your body is a clock on how long it's going to last. You're worried about your body rejecting it. And that does happen. And you feel like crap. Let alone the trauma of having it fixed and put in, and the effects of feeling slow and feeling dizzy and your overall body just feeling really off. Like someone took your entire house, picked it up, shook it, and dropped it. And then not get a call from someone saying, hey, I just wanted to check up on you and see how that, prosthetic was doing, see how that energy adjustment and realignment was doing for you. Because it's like muscle memory. When a massage therapist works on your body and they're trying to fight muscle memory, you have to come in for multiple treatments because your muscles go back into the fashion they were most used to, which is not necessarily the best alignment. Look at me, I'm not even a massage therapist. But you get what I'm trying to say, is that this is something that has to be worked on. You can't just have one session. I even did that to myself once when I was younger. I went through a YouTube guided meditation on how to align my chakras, and wasn't that fun for a week and a half. Getting motion sickness from just standing. Getting out of breath walking 4 steps and feeling like you've walked across the hall. It made distance in the body feel so weird for me. And I'm aware now that my balance is very delicate. Another energy worker, unless they were going to examine me over a long period of time, would never know this. So coming in for your 2 o'clock appointment when people don't know you from Adam is a mistake. Never let somebody work on you that doesn't know you personally. Is there anything else that I can think of? This video is going to get to be 15 minutes real quick. But I think this concludes what I'm going to say when it comes to having disclaimers about energy work and ethics. There are definitely things to look out for when you're sitting there in someone's room. If you're desperate enough, if you're really having a problem and you walk in and you say, I need a healer right now, like, this is really bad. I'm sorry if I don't know you, but I really need help. And they say, yeah, sure, come on in. If you're really that bad, go ahead and do it. But if this is something that you're going to work on long term, go find somebody in the community that you know, that you trust. Trust is a huge thing about energy work, because there are just certain barriers in the human body, in the etheric body, in the dimensional layers that you're never going to see of a person. That is like the heart of hearts, the cloister that nobody's ever going to touch. And it's really hard to get even to that level if you don't trust that person. And trust is a huge thing. You have energy work that goes wrong, you already have a prejudice about it. You're scared about trusting someone ever again. I've had these problems. Can't you tell? So I think that's really all I can say. Um, if there's a question, another question about something I've said that you want me to elaborate on, please ask. Um, but mostly what I can say is that if you're going to lay hands on someone in an energetic way, that you do it with a positive intent and that you do exactly what you say you're going to do and nothing else. And if they're fighting you, back off. They're not ready. You're not ready. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me where someone's been working on me and I've gone, ugh, and they pull back and they go, are you fighting me? And I'm like, I guess I am. It's not being done right. Their approach is not the way it should be. Um, even though their intent is in the right place, it's just not the right time, and you need more time. And that's really all I can say about that. Is if you've had a bad experience, please let me know, and we'll talk about it and see if we can help you get over it and get onto a healthier road. Ta ta for now.